Well, this is where I recorded the whole record, right here in this seat.
Great.
On this microphone. I
Yeah.
had two of these set up during Maple to Paper. It's a Lauten audio, and I had two identical microphones, one that I put on the guitar and one that I put a few inches away from my face, and I wasn't thinking about audio excellence when I was recording. I was more just trying to capture a character and like the authenticity of the feeling that was coming through. And a lot of that feeling was processing the many colors and stages of grief. And towards the end of the album writing period, when I had, for the most part, moved through the ugly stuff, the writing process was a little more meditative, and Maple to Paper was definitely one of those songs where I was like, I walked outside looking for a song, and then, looking inward, but also looking around me, and looking up at tree branches, and it was evening, and the moon was out, and I was under a maple tree. There's this little path to my left that is just like a wooded path between the graduate housing that I'm in and where we park the car. And it's this lovely wooded path where you see deer and foxes, and it's awesome. If you've lived in New York and Brooklyn for 20 years, it's like I never get tired of seeing trees.
Yeah.
And so I was on this wooded path looking up at a maple tree, and then thought, well, maybe I'll just have fun with this, and started a stream of consciousness on M word alliteration. So maple, moored by moonlit midnight, make me move more mindfully. And then I was like, let's switch to D. Down the detour, dodging darkness, damning doom, decidedly. I don't know. It was like a Dr. Seuss moment.
Yeah. Nice.
And then from there, I had, I guess, with that silly exercise, unlocked the permission to just like flow. And what it felt like was that opened the door to the muse, and then a song came tumbling in. The guitar part felt similar, where I just kind of put my hands on the instrument and just was experimenting, and kind of felt like I was in like a little playground. I never write in standard tuning, and this one is in standard. Let me see if I can play it for you slowly so we can learn it together.
Yeah.
I'm in standard. No tricks here. And what I was thinking about too at that time was, are you a Thich Nhat Hanh fan? Do you know Thich Nhat Hanh? Buddhist monk, writer, amazing.
What did he write? Maybe I have his book and I forgot his name. Because
He's
I'm
written
into...
so many books, because his books are really transcriptions of his teachings.
Yeah.
But he was a Buddhist monk, and I'm sure you'll, after this conversation, you'll pull something up and be like, oh, yeah, I know who this is. You'd probably recognize his face.
What's the book that you're thinking of first?
No Mud, No Lotus, or True Love, or Peace is Every Step is a classic. He's
cool.
a legend.
I have something to check out.
Yeah,
Good.
he's
Thank
really
you.
awesome. And on this walk was thinking about his teachings on death, and more specifically impermanence, and how when it's really boiled down in a philosophical Buddhist approach of there's really no beginning and no end, and how in the beginning of the song I approach that in thinking about how, let's say hypothetically, this tree gets chopped down by a logger, and up till that moment the tree is a product of all the elements that made it a tree: the sunlight, the water, the nutrients, the whoever planted it. There's like all these elements that made it a tree. And then so in a sense, the tree is more those elements than it is the tree itself. And then the tree is chopped down by the logger and then sent to a paper press where it's bleached and turned into a magazine or something. It's just like a hypothetical. And so then it leaves you with this question of, do the paper, like the magazine or the staff paper or whatever it becomes, does the paper know the tree? Do they know each other? Do they recognize each other? Is there still an inherent connection? And similarly, like when I look at my daughter and something in her reminds me of my mother, is my mother really gone, or is she still alive in these moments where her eyes are sparkling, or, or when I look at myself in the mirror, for that matter, I see that every day,
That's
so
beautiful.
thinking about that stuff.
It was, I mean, I have to say, at first, when I listen to music, I'm usually drawn to the notes and the sound, And I have to be honest with the lyrics, it sometimes takes me a while, It sometimes takes me a while to actually listen to the lyrics, or I might listen to the lyrics, but really think about what they mean. And I just, like, 1.5 hours ago, I started really listening to what you're saying there. And because I also read that this album also is dealing with grief, as another album of yours also in part was dealing a little bit with that, right? So, and then I kind of started to make the connection, like, okay, so we're thinking about beginnings and endings and how things are still connected, although they seem very far away. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I relate to that. As a listener, I'm often drawn to the music first, or at least historically have been. And also as a musician, I tend to have an easier time coming in through the music, and the lyrics I just struggle with more. So I totally relate to that.
But I have to say, although on this song it took me a while, but you're one of the rare vocalists for me where where it's easier for me to listen to the lyrics or to be captured by the lyrics. And I really want to get into all kinds of things about From Maple to Paper, but also that's something that I'm interested in, like, how do you make somebody listen without saying, like, listen to me, but like through clarity and focus, and I don't know, you tell me, but it's like with you, I actually find it easier in that respect too.
I have a feeling of why that might be. And I'm saying this because it's something that I have experienced in listening to other songwriters, and also have worked on in my own for many years. So it's not just a product of being direct on the paper, like maybe conversational sells it short, like having language that is direct enough to comprehend just on the paper originally. So this makes me think of, like, Joni Mitchell is someone who can be both vague and super specific, and the way that she's speaking about the thing, you feel like she's whispering it in your ear and you just understand it. Even if she's talking about something you've never experienced before, you feel like she's talking about you. And it's this way of being direct in a lyrical way. But then also, and I think maybe this is even more important to me, is the phrasing, both of like the delivery and also the phrasing of the melody and how it wraps around the words. This is something that I think about a lot, and I also really appreciate it when people don't do this. So I think there's no right or wrong, but for me, as someone who has chosen to prioritize music being a healing force and something that is coming directly from the heart. I want to resonate with people's hearts. That's like something I'm committed to, you know. I want to come from my heart in an authentic way, and I want to resonate with other people's hearts. So I'll do an example of what I'm talking about because I'm holding this guitar. So starting with maple moored in moonlit midnight, make me move more mindfully. So already there is kind of rhythmic material just in me speaking it, and also already there is microtonal. There's like an overall shape. There's like a little mountain side in how I'm speaking. The da da dee da dee 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 da 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 dee da 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 da. There's like a couple little mountains, and then it goes down, and then there's also these little microtonal shifts that are happening within those mountains already. And as you're taking that and turning it into melody, it can be this, like, you don't have to overthink it. It can be this effortless, like, how do I put what's naturally there under a microscope and let it breathe? So instead of going against the places that naturally have emphasis in our spoken word, maple moored in moonlit midnight. So for example, when I said that, in had the least emphasis. Yeah. Maple moored, is it in or by? I'm like not remembering my own lyric. Maple moored by, I think it's by. Anyway, by has the least emphasis. Maple moored by moonlit midnight. So what if I were to write a melody where by has the most emphasis? It would feel like maple moored by moonlit midnight, make me move more mindfully. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't hit me in the heart the way that I wanted to. Whereas maple moored by moonlit midnight is like giving me more of this, like it's communicating with how I'm speaking it. Maple moored by moonlit midnight. Yeah. Da 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 dee da da. It's like reaching out and pulling you in. And then when you're dealing with words that really come from a human place, then this approach to melody writing, I think, speaks to the ear and to the heart more clearly.
I love that.
Play my guitar.
That's fine. We'll get to that.
I held it. Yeah. I thought about it.
Greetings. My name is Sam Amadon, and you are experiencing the Pablo Held Investigates podcast. And I am experiencing the Pablo Held Investigates podcast as I do every week. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to go so deep with Pablo and the musicians he talks to. I go back and forth between the conversation, and I'll pause and go to listen to the musical examples, and then I'll return to the conversation. It's profoundly beautiful and enriching. And if you connect with this podcast as much as I do, I highly recommend that you support Pablo on Patreon, because it keeps the podcast going and it provides a whole backdrop to a whole other dimension of the investigation. There's two tiers. There's a general listening podcast supporting tier, which has background materials and other stuff around reflections on Pablo's listening. And then there is a more of a practicing instrument lesson type tier, which is even deeper and more specific. I hope you support it and check it out, because these are the kinds of things that keep the world turning at this time in our universe. See you out there in the investigation zone with Pablo.
Yeah, I love that when the lyrics give you the rhythm. I mean, the weight of the words here dictates the rhythm and the melodic rhythm. I sometimes wonder, like, of course there are no rules, but if a singer sings, my heart is sad,
yes.
That's weird sometimes.
Yep.
Like, where there, I think also the rhythm of the lyrics should dictate in some form, like the shape of the melody a little bit, even if you take space and liberties. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I love, as I get older, to know myself and to know what I can deliver most effectively. And I know that system of coming back to the spoken word as a roadmap, I believe in that. That works for me. I also know that I hear people doing things differently and I'm like, wow, that works for them, you know? But I know that is what works for me. Is when in doubt, look at the spoken, speak it. When in doubt, speak it, and use that as a roadmap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so simple, you know?
Usually when I say something like that, I immediately, I don't know how you, maybe you're the same in teaching, when you say something like that, and then you right away think about the exception to that rule. Because
Yeah,
now I
that's
was
your,
thinking, like,
yeah.
because I don't want to set rules like that for myself or others, you know. But I'm thinking of Shirley Horn, who takes her time
Mm.
also with the melody and stretches. But I also don't think she would like abandon what you were talking about, even if she would take her time with the melody and really play it like sing it super laid back or stretched.
The key words or the reminder there is when in doubt. Maybe you have this really strong and inspired instinct to do something completely different than the rule that you made for yourself. And if that's being led from inspiration, then there's no problem.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
more just that tool is there for you when you're in doubt, you know? And then maybe one day you write a song where you do something completely different, and that is what is serving that song or that character.
Mhm.
Yeah, these rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Yeah.
music.
Yeah. Do you think the song is in G or in E?
My God. I don't think about it. That's my... I would say G.
Yeah.
But it's all over the place.
It is. Yeah, but when it lands in E, I sort of have it kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Oh, the bridge? Is that still you?
No, I mean earlier than that, like the ending of the A section.
Ah. Oh, I
You
see
know?
what you're saying. So maybe it is an E.
I don't know. I also
Yeah.
love the how do you say, like the ambiguity of that, because there are
It's one
certain
of the...
moments like, and then it goes to F sharp in one moment, and I'm like, how did we get here? You know, it's like I love how you take us through, and maybe that is also related because when I was thinking about the lyrics and kind of trying to at first get an understanding of what we're talking about, I could somehow feel the relation to that in the harmony and the moving around and seeing something from a different angle also there. Like what is E to G? When you land in E, you know what I mean? I think it's also in the harmony a little bit.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
you've already
G is
thought about
paper
it more
and
than I ever
D.
did. In the moment that it was written, it was all very visceral. It was like just kind of coming through, and I was just so excited to be like capturing all this yummy harmonic labyrinth, you know? I was just like, ooh, I like the sound of this. Ooh, and then it could go there, and you know, I wasn't like, and it is in standard, because it is in standard. I was very aware of the chords that I was playing. Like as a guitarist, I'm sure you understand. Like once you put it in an alternate tuning, suddenly, or I guess I see a piano behind you. What's your main instrument?
That's
That
it.
one.
Yeah.
So you don't have the luxury so much of like forgetting the instrument.
No, not so much. No. And I'm also a bit scared of it. Like one of my heroes, Joe Zawinul, had this keyboard. Maybe you know about this, where he played the keyboard. I think he played one of the tunes on Black Market Weather Report, where he plays a scale upwards or plays a melody that goes up, but it actually goes down. So it was reversed. And I'm scared of stuff like that because I've worked so much on being able to, trying to hear the note that I want and then playing it. And connecting it to the visual aspect of the piano, that's the advantage that we have. And I'm really, maybe I should lose it a little bit, but I'm really connected to it in that way. Anyways,
I
let's
hear
get back
you.
to your chords and your song.
Well, I want to say something about that real quick, which is that finding those things that scare you, that's I think some of our most fruitful work as musicians and songwriters is pinpointing those and then teasing them a bit, pushing up against them and seeing like, well, there must be some juicy stuff in there. Yeah. It's like going and getting a massage and like working out the knots in your back or something. You find those sticky, scary points. And then like, for example, it could be really interesting for you to write a song on the guitar in an alternate tuning just to see what kind of stuff you come up with, because it would be completely divorced from your from your habits on the piano. How interesting would that be?
And also, how bad would it be if I would
see now you're
the guitar?
No, but no one ever has to hear the guitar playing. You're just using it as a tool. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. I'm down to try it. And also, I love to fool around at the guitar, and I sometimes find sounds, but it's actually like I have no idea which notes I'm playing and how I would change them to do something different.
Same. Guitar is weird like that.
Yeah. Somebody told me, I think it was Chris Wiseman, he told me he looks at the guitar as 5 monophonic synthesizers, but tuned in a different way. You know what I mean? So like,
why not 6?
Oh, sorry, 6. See, I don't know nothing about the guitar.
Maybe he broke a string.
Let's say 6. Yeah. Okay, back to your song.
Yeah, what do you want to know about it? Bring me on.
Well,
bring it on. Bring me.
Yeah. I think if you would be down to play it, I think that would be great. So we all start with that musical experience, and then we can get into it. My thing is like, I think I know half of the song, and after a while, at first I feel like the first couple of parts I know now, and I can play along with it. But in the later part of the song, where it kind of goes all over the place, harmonically, I kind of lose, or I don't have a sense of the form yet, and I would like to have that more.
Yeah, I haven't practiced it in a while, so it's not going to be perfect, but
that's
neither
beautiful.
is life.
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay, it's really long. You probably noticed that when you were listening to it. It's long AF. Okay. Maple moored by moonlit midnight, make me move more mindfully down the detour, dodging darkness, damning doom decidedly. Icy eyes and layered branches, high in my periphery, shifting as the crosswinds hurry, always catching up with me. Could a masterpiece like this be cut down to make magazines, stripped and chipped, washed and bleached, and pumped onto a moving screen? Does the maple know the paper far beyond its former form, more so made by non-tree things? Who am I to say the tree is gone? Is presence only present tense, or does a memory really bring me back to you? Did the parts of you that faded carry through another way? Where does light go when it leaves us? Is that you here in her face? I will guide her way with patience, but where's the tree that carried me? Gone in touch, trapped in stillness, here in thought, infinitely. Sickness was my little sister when she too grew patiently, cradled in your warm embrace and cut out quickly, just like me. Is that still you there in your eyes? Did I see a little smile as you lay paper thin and gray and gave your little light away? Does the cinder know the ember far beyond its former form, more so made by non-flame things? Who am I to say the ember's gone? Does a tear long for the ocean or relish in sweet separateness? Do we trust in what's left over when making sense of impermanence? Is presence only present tense, or does a memory really bring me back to you?
Yay. That was amazing.
Thank you. Oh, thanks.
Such a deep song. Wow.
Oh, thank you. It reminds me of pandemic performances, except one person is actually clapping.
Yeah.
So it was better.
Wow. I think the part that I haven't figured out yet, or where I've struggled with, where I struggle with remembering the harmonies is the part where you sing, "Is that still you?"
The bridge.
That's the bridge. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't even really know. I guess it's let's see here. F sharp to A to E to G.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I get confused here too. I just go down.
F.
So G to
Oh no,
F
then it goes to
sharp
E, right?
to E,
Yeah.
F sharp, G.
Oh, again, yeah.
And then I messed up here. B minor over G to E.
Yes. Oh, you think you think of it as B minor over G, because on the record I heard a C sharp, but maybe that's in the melody, I think. Maybe it's in the melody. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in the melody.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I kind of got dizzy after a while. You know, I love every moment, but I haven't really the sequence of it. Oh, we're back at E. No, we're at G. What? So I get a little dizzy there. So, but you think of that part as the bridge.
Yes.
Right,
Only
because
in that it's a different section. Like this part particularly is a different section that only happens once in the song, and it gives you another, like a new perspective. But what's strange about this bridge is that it wraps back into the same tail that every other section ends with.
Yeah.
Kind of.
The E thing.
Yeah. And each time it's different. Like sometimes it's... and sometimes it's...
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. But
so
do you think
like
about that one also as a sort of a E minor major over B, or how do you... Like, is that also still an E for you, although it has a B in the bass?
This? I think of it as like a weird B.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more about the shape that my hand is making. I've never sat down to figure out what that would be called. I'm sure somebody's listening and they know the exact name for it, but...
we'll find it in the comments. But to
like
me, it sounds like if you put an E below that, it sounds like an E minor major.
Oh, I'm not thinking of it like that. I'm thinking of it as like a B, but instead of
flat 13.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Huh. Flat 13. Yeah.
Right?
In B, C. Yes, flat 13. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love how unexpected a lot of the harmony is. I'm always surprised. I love that.
Well, shoot. Thank you. As they say in the South. Well, shoot. It's unexpected for me too. Sometimes I'm playing the song and it's like if I'm thinking too much, then I am bound to mess up, you know? It needs to be like meditative.
But what
And
carries
also I'm
you
trying...
through? Is it the melody, or the words with the melody carry you through the harmony or the form?
Because it's so long, I have to keep an eye on the lyrics. I want to make sure that I do the right ones in the right order. So I'm sort of keeping an eye on that, if anything. And then I'm also thinking about really just like fret numbers. Like here's where my hand makes... It's like choreography. Like I'm thinking about where I know my hand goes. And some of the moments are harder than others. So in those moments, my brain goes to the hands and then back to the words. But on a good day, if I'm in practice, if I'm like in good shape, I'm not thinking about any of it. I'm like thinking about the energy between me and the audience, and about this energy that we get to deal in as musicians. You know, it's like this force, and it's like on a good day I'm like, there's this, and then there's this, and then I'm like up there, you know. That's the best.
Can you tell me, because you said in the moment where you were writing it, you were just trying to capture the ideas that you had. How did you capture them? Did you also write it down? Did you make a voice memo or try to remember it, or how did you capture it?
It started out as a voice memo, walking, and then I often spend a really long time writing songs. Like there have been songs where it even took me like years, you know. But this one came in like 2 days, so it's hard for me to even remember. But I started walking, voice memo, and then I was like, woo, I'm inspired. And I ran home and typed a bunch of ideas and words that were just kind of tumbling out on my computer, and then grabbed the guitar and just came up with the beginning part with that verse. And as far as I can remember, I have like video of it on my computer in photo booth. I could look back on it and tell you exactly what happened, because I filmed almost everything that happened when I was writing Maple to Paper, the album, you know. Like I was just like always, not for the sake of documentation, but more for so I would remember what I was doing with my hands.
Interesting. Cool. Photo booth.
So
I remember that.
Yeah, it's just so easy. It's just there, and I have to like clear it off sometimes because it'll get all bogged down with videos, and so I drag them onto a drive, and then I can't find them, you know. But it's all there. So I think I just that first verse on the guitar just kind of tumbled out, and then I spent the next day developing things, sculpting the lyrics, crafting the guitar part, making the form feel balanced. It all came really effortlessly, and then I demoed it, and I looked at the length, and I was like, oh, this must be a mistake. I must have highlighted a bunch of space after the song. And then I opened up the file, and I was like, this song is 7.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
WTF.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. That's also what that's also a feeling that I had, or a realization that I had when I listened to it on repeat. After a while, I looked like, oh, let me look how long this track is that I'm repeating all the time. Oh, wow, it's pretty long. I never noticed. But it's also a good sign, you know. I didn't notice it to be long.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I thought even when I'm playing it, it doesn't feel long. I think it's one of those songs for me that slows down time. Like I don't feel impatient or rushed at all, and it like slows my heart rate, and it slows my perception of I don't know, it like slows down time, so it doesn't feel long.
Great. Yeah, how do you write a song like that?
I don't know. I don't feel like I had anything to do with it.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to tell you the moment where it's like, does the tear think about the ocean? Or I don't know exactly, but that was the moment where I really started paying attention to the lyrics. That was the key for me to, you know.
That's good.
That moment.
That was the hope, because that's kind of, if anything's a chorus in that song, that's the chorus. It happens twice, which is giving chorus, I guess. Does a tear long for the ocean? And that melody happens twice with different lyrics. So it's like, you have the thing, you know, the first verse, it's the tree, and then you have that section.
Could you play the harmony real quick?
Sure.
To that? Sorry, so we kind of capture it together.
Does a tear long for the ocean?
Yeah.
And the first time that happens, it's different lyric about the tree becoming a piece of paper. And then so when it comes back, it's already familiar, which gives it the sense of a chorus, because you're like, oh, I remember this melody. And then, does a tear long for the ocean or relish in sweet separateness? So the idea of this little piece of salt water, like, does it miss the ocean, which is a massive body of salt water, or is it like, oh, I'm loving this life of being all by myself on this beautiful cheek? Do we trust in what's left over when making sense of impermanence? Impermanence.
Yeah, I love that part. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's meant to make more sense than other parts of the song for sure. So I'm glad that it came through. Yeah.
And was it I'm just curious, like, was it a moment where like, oh, the meter is changing, or where did you think I should change the meter now?
No, never. If anything, from time to time, I'll think I need some space here before I take a breath and sing again. So there's that, this spot, is present.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel the energy and I feel inspired to just keep going. Bless the hearts of my bandmates, because they just have to know these spots where
Yeah.
I might change the meter. And then usually, it's funny, this when I just played it for you, I swapped what usually happens. But usually the first time is goes straight through, and then usually the second time I luxuriate a little and hold the space. His presence, but for some reason in your performance I swapped that, and I don't know why. But I'm thinking of Chris Tordini and Jordan Perlson, just like they just know when to kind of like come on those little journeys with me. Yeah.
I haven't heard this with the band yet. I need to check that out. I just know
It's pretty
this
nice.
version.
This song particularly, I when I play it on the band sets, I play it solo. But you know, other songs from Maple to Paper, I do bring trio, and it's pretty nice. They're just incredible. They just know, they always know what to do. You know.
But how do they know the songs? How do you teach them the songs, or do they get sheet music, or?
We don't deal in sheet music anymore. Early on in the Becca Stevens band, I would bring out these like really elaborate scores, and it just stressed everybody out, because with music like this, it's so much simpler to just learn it. And the sheet music, it's like when you start there, it's sort of like when you're driving and you've only ever used the map on your phone, you never really figure out where you are. And then I would just be like, okay, put the sheet music away, let's learn it by ear. And then suddenly they're like, oh, this is easier than I thought it was, you know? And so what I did early on, after we did away with the sheet music, was that I would make demos of everything first, and then play them the demo so that they could get a sense of how I envisioned the arrangement and the vibe and stuff, and then teach the different sections to them by ear. And then we would have rehearsals where I would say, you know, I was envisioning you doing something like this, but let me know if you have other ideas, and try to keep like an open environment for their voices to come through too, you know. But I'm pretty specific with things like background vocals, and sometimes I'm very specific with bass lines. Other times Chris is totally on his own, just watching what my left hand is doing or using his beautiful imagination. And Maple to Paper specifically, because now we all live in different places and we all have children. We didn't have the luxury of getting together for and like rehearsing for a week before our first tour. So I think the first Maple to Paper tour, we met the day before our show in the Netherlands, either the day of or the day before, and we had like a 3 or 4 hour rehearsal, and they had already learned the songs from the record, and they already had ideas that they thought that they would bring, and then we just tried everything out, and I said, I like this, I don't like this. Some songs came together really, really easily, others took a little more work, and it's just when you've been playing with people for this long, it's just such a beautiful thing to put new songs together because they know my language and I know theirs, and we trust each other, you know.
So for this song, there's no sheet music, existing sheet music.
I did a teaching week in Basel, and
The focus year?
I think either a student or I made a sheet of this one just because we played it together. Yeah, so I think there is one somewhere.
So I'm transcribing a lot of songs, and oftentimes when I'm transcribing songs by singers, I have many questions. So my question for you would be, how would you write down a melody like this if you're singing it? I mean, this is not a song where you're like super flexible with the interpretation of the melody. I feel, I mean, now the version was more flexible than flexible is the wrong word, but yeah, you know, took more liberties with the rhythm of the melody than what I have in my remembrance of the record from the version from the record. So, but when I'm learning a song like this or transcribing it, I'm sometimes wondering like, what would be on paper in terms of the actual rhythm of the melody, where it sits, you know?
Yeah. The difference in phrasing and even the difference in note choices, that's just interpretation. That's me interpreting my own melody.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't write it down that way. I always think that's odd when I'm reading a vocal score and someone's embellishments make it into the, I'm just like, no. So if I was writing out the score, it would be da 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 da. You know, it'd be like very straight.
Okay.
Yeah. Dee da dee da dee 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 da, and rather than maple moored by moonlit, you know, like it, when I'm singing it, I really stretch and play.
Yeah.
But if I was writing the score, I would say dee da dee da dee dee dum da, and then I would just put freely over top.
Right. Yeah. That's so helpful to know because I struggle with that because I'm also in love. Usually, when I transcribe a song, I'm also in love with how it's sang. You know, how it's sung, or if I would then narrow it down like that, I sometimes wonder where the song is because my heart is so attached to that interpretation. But you're right. If you then write it down like a classical piece score or whatever, or being super specific about everything, every little nuance, then it becomes, if somebody has to then sing it or interpret it again, the spontaneity gets lost because everybody's like reading like a, you know.
Yeah, this is so important to me. From a couple like angles. If you were reading a score and you saw the embellishment of a specific artist in the score of like a song that a bunch of people have done, but someone's specific interpretation made it into the official score, I would be like, that's weird. It's not plagiarism, but it's like weird. That's, you know, it almost feels like you need to like credit that's, it just seems weird to me. And then also on the opposite side, like when I'm learning music, especially in the jazz world, I like to be really careful about learning a standard from one person because standards are so subjective to interpretation. So when I was like putting my chart binder together back in the day, I would check out 3 versions of everything before I ever attempted to sing it, including including learning like an original sheet music. I'd try to find the original sheet music of everything. For example, if something was in like a Broadway musical or an opera, I'd like learn it there, and then listen to Ella and Billy and Sarah Vaughan, and you start to get a sense of how Ella stays closest to the original. Billy does her own thing quite consistently. And then Sarah's a whole different animal. You know, it's like you start to get a sense of what people are doing and to like really appreciate their choices and their sound, you know?
Yeah. I usually gravitate towards Peggy Lee a lot because she's very truthful to the melody. I feel like when I really want to learn like the core thing of the song, I also go back to as close to the original, if not the original, as I can. But she and also Frank Sinatra and I'm usually going towards their versions. But I remember a conversation that I had with Sullivan Fortner where he said like, yeah, but Billy gives you the meaning of the song.
Oh yeah. She's like the Elliott Smith of the jazz world. She's really like you feel sadness, like you feel she's so, I love her so much. She's so beautiful. And when you hear someone doing an interpretation of a standard that is entirely derivative of someone else's interpretation, it just feels so yucky and like useless to me. Like why?
What are you doing?
What's the point? What's the point? Like it just, you choose a better word. It feels lazy. Like really, that's the only one you checked out and you don't have anything to say about it? You know, try harder.
Oh, totally.
You know, I'm a snob.
What's the last standard that you learned? Or like a recent one?
The last one I learned. Maybe it was What Reason Can I Give? The Ornette Coleman tune for for an album that I did with my bassist Chris Tordini.
Beautiful. And how was your process on that one?
I checked out as many versions as I could find, and then also asked myself, like, what can I bring to this in an authentic and meaningful way? And because Chris was the band leader for that project, I was also following his lead and his vision for how it would work within the structure of the arrangement.
That singer is all over the place on that recording, right? I forget her name, but I feel like she's all over the place in the most beautiful way, where the whole thing is flying and she's flying on top of something that's already flying.
Yeah, she's surfing on the wave of the ensemble. And it's always important to me to know, you know, who's the original singer that sang it with the composer. I like to check out that version.
Yes.
Yeah. There's another one like that, Portrait, a Charles Mingus tune. And the original vocal performance of that is just like otherworldly. I mean, it is out of this world.
Is it self-portrait in 3 colors or another portrait?
No, it's I've seen all kinds of pictures, most of the beauties of the world. Do you know this?
No.
From places I've traveled, I still recall. Speaking of songs that are hard to figure out what the tonal center is. This faint melody as I thrill, painting my own pictures in tone. I've painted all of Mother Earth, bold flowers that brave the morn, tones color the life she's born. And then you get the head again. I've tried to paint her beauty from radiant skies to deep blue seas. The sky as she changes her glamour, dawn's pale blue, sunset's amber. My favorite part. The wind and the rain, the lull on the plains, leaves on the ground, mountains gray-brown, brown, tipped with a dash of glowing white snow. I started too low, but gosh, that's a good song.
Wow.
And nobody ever plays it.
Who sings it on the recording?
Let's find out. Charles Mingus, portrait singer. I've seen all kinds of pictures. Let's see what the internet says.
I just had the idea. What if that's your version where you're like singing but typing at the same time as an accompaniment?
Oh my gosh. I think it's Jackie Paris. It's Jackie Paris. Let's double check.
I don't know who that is.
No. Jackie Paris is a boy. I think I've heard the Jackie Paris version as well, and it's like way more dreamy. But the one that I'm thinking of is like operatic and bizarre. So I'll have to look that up and send it to you, and you can put it in the show notes.
Okay, will do.
Yeah.
So when you were just singing that, I loved it. But I had a question. It's like it's a very basic question, but what do intervals mean to you?
I love intervals. I do. Like as a singer,
That's
you
how
have
it
to.
sounded like. Yeah.
As a singer, you have to get cozy with intervals if you want to be able to read music or find your way around a complicated melody. My superpower is my ears. Like I can hear something once or twice and remember it really well and sing it back. My opposite of superpower is learning stuff on the guitar. It's like I have to put a lot of time in on the guitar. I feel kind of dyslexic on the guitar. But with melody, I can hear a really strange melody and find myself at home in it pretty quickly. So I love intervals and I love weird ones. And I get this like body, like visceral memory of a melody where I can, before I even hear it in my brain, I can like feel where to go. Even though I don't have perfect pitch. But then if I hear, like if I'm like doing dishes and I hit a metal bowl, my ear will go, that's the first note of da 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 da. Yeah. So I guess I have relative pitch, but just not perfect.
Yeah, beautiful. Because I could feel like that exactly how you described it. Like I hear a minor third and I hear like you really being in love with that minor third, you know?
Oh, that's nice that it comes through.
Also, that's another thing that I wanted to tell you is like with my favorite pianists, when they play a note, it feels like the inner visual that I have is like they hit the note and hit the key and push the key down, but the note goes even deeper, like goes through.
Oh, yeah.
Like really hitting that note. And that's the same feeling that I have when I listen to you sing a note.
Ooh, cool. I love that. I agree with that. Like I think about Taylor Eichste could be playing like a hunk of junk piano that would sound horrible on anyone else's fingers, and he makes it sound like him. Same thing with bassists, particularly upright bass. But like Chris Tordini, he for years he was touring with me on a tiny bass, like a bass like this big
Mm-hmm.
from a company called Tiny Instruments, and it shouldn't have sounded good, but it just like his fingers have his sound in them at this point, and so he would make that tiny thing sound like him. What is that about?
Mm-hmm. And
It's
how
really,
can you
and
do it with the voice?
particular. Yeah, well, I think it's easiest with the voice because it's your voice. But like, I think to be able to do that on a piano, that's wizardry.
Mm.
But with a voice, there's so much fluctuation in tone and color at your fingertips at all times, in the way that you shape your mouth and your like the space in your head and I remember when I was doing Wonder Bloom, Nick kept encouraging me to go darker with my tone. And I agreed with him. Like I would try the two versions, and the bright one just felt too like young and happy for some of the. There was a song that I demoed laying down, like the original demo I made laying down like on my bed, singing into the speaker of my computer after I'd been crying or something. He kept referencing the demo and being like, that's the vibe. And whatever you're doing now is cool, but it's not like the right vibe for this song. And, to give an example, it would be like, lately I haven't been enough. Right now I'm like almost kind of smiling. I'm raising my eyebrows and like things are bright and airy. And, or let's do lately I haven't been enough. More like that key. And then in the recording, I was tired. My face was heavy. My mouth was heavy. My voice was tired from crying. Lately I haven't been enough. Like it's like a completely different. It's a completely different tone, feeling, color, character. Lately I'm running kind of low. And then when you take all this technical stuff and you put thought behind it and feeling, then it drives it home, because then that's when you're experiencing kind of what you're talking about with you're listening to someone and you hear every word. It's because they're experiencing it with you.
Yeah, that's also like more. I mean, I was also talking about the physicality of it, but I was also really talking about the determination and the destination and intent. Like when you hear like somebody's really meaning each note, and also hearing, it goes back also to the ability to hear the note first and then singing it and playing it.
I left out a funny part of that story, which is that we eventually tracked that one with me laying down.
And cutting some onions to cry, or how did you?
No, laying down did the trick.
Okay.
At the time,
the voice sounds weirdly different when you're lying down.
Yeah, I laid down on my back, and then the hardest thing about capturing that one was like figuring out how to set the mic without it falling on my face. But I like got under blankets, put my head on a pillow, closed my eyes.
Yeah.
There was one at the time. Nick doesn't smoke anymore, but at the time he was a smoker, and there was "I Will Avenge You." I went outside and smoked cigarettes before I was singing it. I was like, let's just damage the hell out of the vocal cords and really get that growly. And then that one I tracked in a whisper room with a handheld condenser, and I was like singing in it like I was, on stage singing with like a punk rock band. Really just and like running out of oxygen between takes because the whisper room was like not ventilated.
That record has a lot of colors in it. It's incredible how rich the whole record is. I keep asking myself also when it comes to producing albums, if you have such a rich palette on a record like this, when do you where do you get the idea to when do you think it's done? You know what I mean? It's like, where do you stop?
Yeah.
Because there's so much things happening. Where are you? Where does that realization come from? From, okay, that's it. We don't need anything else. Although there's already so much in there. Like, you know what I mean?
Herein lies the problem with making albums like that, and why Wonder Bloom took a year to make. Yeah, it's really, you can rabbit hole really quickly, because there's so many cans of worms that are better left closed when you're making an album like that, where you're just like, am I really gonna go after this? No one will ever know but me. And then you end up spending 3 days on this thing that nobody will ever hear but you. I spent thousands of hours editing shit that no one will ever hear, and tracking background vocals that were completely buried, and all kinds of stringed instruments and stuff. But I love the way that record sounds. I absolutely love the work of art. It's a shame that it came out the day the world shut down on March, whatever it was, 20th, 2020. But I also still adore the experience that I had and everything that I learned from Nick. I mean, we engineered and produced, and we did all that stuff together. It was quite the studio producer lesson for me. I really grew so much. But yeah, it's hard to know where to stop. I think with albums like that, with all my albums, but particularly the ones that are where there's always feels like there's something to tweak, at a certain point you just have to pull the trigger. And so I've had with those albums, like, I'll have a close friend or a trusted voice come over and I'll say, I need your help pulling the trigger. This is our last listen. Let's have a ceremony. Last listen. The only notes that can happen is if there's something catastrophically wrong. Otherwise, we are saying goodbye. We're pulling the trigger so that life can move on and I can make new songs and new albums and do other things with my life other than make this album forever, you know.
Yeah, it's good to have friends for that type of thing. That who can be honest with you and tell you into your face, like, what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Very valuable. Can we talk about Rainbow Connection?
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to switch to my yoga ball. This yoga ball also makes a really great bass drum and percussive tool for demos.
Do you want to play something?
Well, it's really, here, let me put my phone close to it. It's got cloth around it.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that on my demos. And then with the right preamp, what's the word I'm trying to say? With the right EQ on it, you can really pull the low end out of it and make it into a cool bass drum. And then sometimes I'll just put the mic on my USB mic on the floor. This one that I'm using right now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just put it on the floor and then stomp my heel, and it's like for demos. It's great.
What else are you using for demos?
This Loudon audio mic or the blue USB mic, depending on how seriously I'm taking myself. And this, move the chips out of the way. This Apollo Solo. And that's all I need. Really, truly. This is like exactly, not just demos, but that's what I use to make Maple to Paper. The Apollo Solo, Loudon audio. With this, I love that this arm goes up and down, and I don't have to have like a mic stand in my room.
Yeah.
And
I
That's
love
it.
how the album sounds, by the way. I love
Oh,
how
thank you.
it has a rawness, but also like an elegance to it, and especially like I love the direct, like the nothing. It feels like nothing is added. You just get what it is, like you and the guitar.
That was a challenge for me, but it was one that I decided to commit to early on, and it was such an important choice for that record because it was the way that it without being able to distract myself with overdubs and production. I was forced to really zero in on like, okay, then otherwise the character has to carry this. So I have to keep writing until the song can stand on its own without any, like Wonder Bloom, a lot of those songs I don't know that I could or would ever play solo. I love listening to them, but they're not like they're not songs you, well, some of them I should say, and be nice to my music. Some of them are just songs I would not play by themselves on a guitar. But Maple to Paper, it was like these songs have to carry a lot, and then also the performance and the accessing the character, like really getting my nails in the character and like having that, it just, yeah, not having those distractions was, I think, such an important choice for that, you know.
Mm-hmm. What I love about Rainbow Connection is how you make the song your own. It really sounds like it's your song.
Aw, thank you. That's an arrangement that I did right when, like, the pandemic started and everything was shutting down and all the tours got canceled. My husband and I just happened to be in Baltimore, or actually we were in DC. He had a gig at Kennedy Center, and his parents were living in Baltimore, so we had planned, after his gig, we'd planned to go stay with them for the night, and then things started to really fall apart, so we just like never left. We were there for 2, maybe 3 months. I think we like drove into Brooklyn once and like, you know, had on masks and gloves and like ran into our apartment to get things. It was just such a crazy time for everyone, such a dark time for everyone. But anyway, I didn't have my instruments there for the first month or so, but my sister had, it's on the other side of this thing, this really beat up old classical guitar, and I was like, I need an instrument. I'm trying to process the weight of this freaking pandemic, and like I need an instrument that I can be playing because there was nothing there. And so I went and picked up the classical guitar from my sister's house, and then everything just felt so simple. The tours were canceled. I was making no money. We were living in their basement, and then I was like, what do I want to do? And the answer at that time, for whatever reason, was like, I want to play really simple, comforting songs, maybe even specifically like arrangements of other people's comforting songs. That just was like really speaking to me in that moment. And the first one that I did was Rainbow Connection. And it was like, there's just capturing the essence of that sweetness and like bottling it up in whatever way I could so that I could use it as like a balm for myself and for others. That was, yeah, that just, and in a way, I think that 180 from Wonder Bloom was the seed of what became Maple to Paper. Because Wonder Bloom was like the total opposite, the antithesis.
Yeah.
So this comfort song era, that arrangement from Rainbow Connection was born from that simplicity.
And had you learned that song before, or I mean, was it part of your, not repertoire, but like part of you already, or how did you? What's your connection to that
it
song?
ever since I was a kid. You know, it because it was in the Muppets movie that came out before I was born, probably. Muppets movie year. I would say late 70s. What do you think?
Yeah, beginning of the 80s.
No. 84, the same year I was born. Oh, no, I was right. 79. So it was released in 79, premiering in the UK. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. It's Jim Henson, right? So it was in the Muppets movie, and I grew up watching that and hearing it. And then I had a cousin who used to play it on the guitar all the time, and I don't know, I just like loved that song from an early age.
Yeah, beautiful. There's another one on Maple to Paper, which is, I have a couple of favorites from that album. How to Listen is another one.
Oh, wow. Interesting you brought those two up. So Rainbow Connection made its way through because that one represents Willamea for me, my firstborn daughter, who is a rainbow baby. I didn't know what that meant until we lost our first pregnancy. I lost our first pregnancy, and apparently the pregnancy, the child that you have after a miscarriage is called a rainbow baby. And so when I did the Rainbow Connection arrangement, it was like way before I ever started trying to have kids, and then it sort of like it came up again because I was looking on Maple to Paper to kind of bookend and weave throughout some kind of sense of like the sweetness of the beauty of motherhood, and like this like the balm of that time, that there was the grief of losing my mom, but then mixed in with that is the wonder and the beauty of being a new mom and of falling in love in a way that I never had before, with eventually 2 daughters. By the time I ended the album, I have two little girls. And then How to Listen, songs like How to Listen and I'm Not Her were my attempt to also give this well-rounded, like, these were these other colors of my female experience through all of this. So like how I was kind of projecting my grief onto my husband, and how I was projecting my grief onto like my relationship with social media, and like comparing myself to other women. And it was like grief is not one dimension. It colors everything, and it affects how you're living. And so I wanted to give a little bit of this window into like some of the marital stuff too. How to Listen, when I first started writing it, the opening of it was about my mom, and then my husband and I were having like some dumb argument, and I was feeling inspired to go in that direction, and then we made up and hugged it out, and I was so excited to share the song with him, and to show him that at the end of the song he kind of like wins is a horrible word, but like I'm able to step back and see that it was like on me the whole time. I don't know, that was like the purpose of the song was like, I'm like critical, and then I take a step back and I'm like, I see. And I was so excited to share that with him, and he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, but what if people don't listen the whole time? Like, what if they just listen to the first verse and then they just think I'm an asshole? And I'm like, well, they need to be listening to the whole lyrics. And we had a laugh about that. And that song almost, it basically like was in the garbage bin. It was the one that was meant to be cut. And then I said, okay, well, maybe I'll try to record, like the original recording of it was just like boring. And so what I decided was, okay, I won't cut it, mainly because Nate, my husband, said, you can't cut that song. He was like, that's one of the best songs on the album. You can't cut that song. And I was like, wow, that means a lot coming from you. And so I said, I tell you what, once I get everything else done, I'll re-record it. And me being a procrastinator, I waited till the very last second, to the point where like I couldn't even do it here anymore because it was the dead of winter. And I don't know if you can hear the heat right now, but it makes microphones hum on the counter. And then it was just like impossible to record it here. I was 800 months pregnant, like had no oxygen left in my body. And so I went to, it's the only one that I didn't record in this room. I went to a studio in Princeton, and Nate came and laid on the floor, and I was like so pregnant and so emotional, and I started like crying during takes. And he came and sat next to me, and he held my hand.
Oh, sweet.
And it was like so sweet. And then I had my daughter 4 days later. So it really was, you know, those two songs that you just mentioned, those were the pillars. It was like the bookend. It was Rainbow Connection, which started before Willamea was even a twinkle in my eye, and then How to Listen, which was like basically the last song Isla heard before she came out of my body.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I love sharing stuff about music. It's the best.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much.
This is a great conversation. I as a songwriter, and you know, being an artist, like it's so lovely to be able to feel that you're interested in the minutia of these things that are so meaningful to me. So thank you for taking the time to really go spelunking in my artistry. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.